Wow, why do you look so mean on the Sportster? Wow.
What's happening, guys?
Hey, give him a big smile. You meet the nicest people on an MV Agusta. At least I think that's how it goes.
Hey guys, what's happening? Feast your eyes on this absolutely stunning, multiple award winning, extremely rare. Only 5,000 of these were built 60 years ago.
6,500 were built over the course of 10 years.
Yeah,
So
that was so this particular model, there was probably less than 1,000 of the 59s made.
actually, this is the first year of production for the Rapido Sport 150.
So it's a really rare 1959 Rapido Sport 150. It's won multiple awards. This won first place at the Italian Motorcycle Owners Club for the MV Agusta class. It was on display and was shown at the Lars Anderson Motorcycle Museum in Boston, Mass. 2 years in a row. It's one of the biggest events in New England for vintage motorcycle shows. It's a very prestigious Lars Anderson Museum. Won first place in an Italian class 2 years in a row. And it also, I am a judge for the Antique Motorcycle Club of America. I judge motorcycle shows here at our museum and elsewhere. And I'm also the Eastern Connecticut ambassador for the museum. And it has a very prestigious award on this side of the bike. Let me show you this right here. Come on over this side here. Let me show you. This is the Antique Motorcycle Club of America Junior Award. This is founded in 1944, the AMCA Junior Award. This bike, I asked the previous owner, and he didn't remember off the top of his head, but it was over 95 points when it was judged in the show, which is extremely high for originality and fit and finish. This is a full restoration to original color and spec. Mr. George Ellis, who's well known in the Italian motorcycle circle for restoring Bultacos and MV Agustas and vintage Ducatis. He restored this to concourse museum quality condition, and it's been used as mostly a show bike. When I say restored, full frame off restoration, cases were split, engine was completely rebuilt from the crankcase up. Every gear, every seal, every nut and bolt on the motor was either rebuilt or replaced with OEM quality components. It has a new battery on it. The carb was rebuilt. It was repainted, the original red and white factory paint. It has the correct style, original aluminum rims. The spokes are brand new. The tires are brand new. The paint is brand new. All the bulbs are new. This is a restoration. Any reputable shop, if you bought, they started off with a good bike, a 4,000 original mile MV Agusta. It now has 4,101 miles on it, so it's got about 100 miles on the restoration. Come around this side too. Show them the exhaust system on the bike. These are absolutely beautiful. Dual exhaust, very rare MV Agusta dual exhaust. It has a beautiful chrome finish on it. The belt, the chain guard, the shocks, everything's in stunning condition. So
the dual exhaust came with the upgrade from the 125 to the 150 after the new Italian code that stated that any motorcycle on the expressway needed to be 150 cc's. So upgraded exhaust for less back pressure and more power with the 150.
yeah, in actuality, yeah, they had a 125 version of this that had the single exhaust. They were responding to a European law that said you had to be 150, or an Italian law, I forget which one it was. On the highways, you had to be 150 cc or bigger, so they built this 150.1, so it was eligible to be used as full transportation on the highways.
Highway capable.
We have Mr. George Ellis's transferable registration here.
Which, in the north, any classic vehicle is title exempt. That registration will allow you to export the bike or title in any state out west or what have you.
We have the original owner's manual here. The one from 1959, the light motorcycle, Gran Turismo, model 150cc. So it's got all the instructions in here for engine timing and tuning, and it's a beautiful classic manual.
On a bike where maybe there's not so much information now, or they didn't make so many, there's an owner's club, and if you're going to buy one of these, you need to buy one with full provenance, with documentation that's been AMCA judged, that has the original parts catalog, so you know what you're looking at and what needs to be replaced if you're going to ride it.
The MB Agusta Owners Club of New Britain. The actual club membership documentation on here. He joined the club, obviously. Here's a picture of the bike in a previous configuration with a different color seat on it. Here's some additional new parts, including an additional ignition key, bulbs, a bunch of paperwork with the DuPont Centauri acrylic enamel, paint colors and codes, and some spare parts information. Just a bunch of literature on the bike. And also a bunch of receipts and a set of gaskets. So the bike was previously for sale.
You're forgetting something. You're forgetting something. What do we have there? Is the parts catalog for the Rapido Sport model.
Yep.
Cool.
Full parts catalog with all of the part numbers and everything. So if you want to research and try to find parts for it, you'll be in good shape.
If you want to be an MV Agusta expert, you got everything you need in there. That's essentially.
Here's the price tag that was on it. Was $7,500 when it was at the show, the IMOC show this fall. So that was the asking price on the bike. So the again, it's an MV Agusta 150 RS. It was the Italian, I actually have some literature here on it. In 1959, the Italian highway code was revised for prohibiting motorcycles with a displacement less than 150. Of course, MV answered the challenge with the 150.1 cc. Has a duplex cradle frame built up from tubes and pressed steel. A dual seat, and it closely resembled the 125. The most obvious difference, as we said earlier, was the dual exhaust tips. They use the system to reduce back pressure and increase power, which the Rapido Sport was rated at 10 horsepower at 6,400 RPM, and it used an 8.1 compression ratio and a Delorto MB20B carburetor. So that's about it for the literature side of things. Now for my favorite part of the job, I can demo it.
You don't want to do a helmet cam?
I kind of want to put a helmet cam and take him for a ride, because this thing is such a hoot to ride.
It's ready to roll.
Let's do it, man.
All right, cool. We'll be back.
Oh, hey, before we go, I got to show you something. Look at the gas cap on this thing. It has a Shell fuel label on it. It says U.S. ARE Shell X100 MO. I think that means 100 octane, minimum octane. We're running non-ethanol fuel in here right now. I'm sure to run off of pump gas, but I recommend continuing with a VP non-ethanol small engine fuel.
Was that an advertisement or a serious recommendation, or both?
Both. But I my vintage bikes, I like to run non-ethanol fuel because, let's face it, we don't put that many miles on them. The ethanol is bad for the carburetors and can wreak havoc on them. So you just run better with better fuel.
We'll be back.
Now for the best part, we get to go for a rip on it. I've been riding this all week here, and looking forward to taking you on a little journey for it. Just riding it around the complex and up and down the street. Starts up first kick, left side kick. I like to do that from the left side of the bike. It has a GT shift pattern that's 1 up, 4 down. Clutch is impeccable. The bars have a integral clutch perch and brake perch, which is kind of cool. A vintage setup. The chrome is beautiful on the bars. Nice exhaust note from the dual exhaust, and it moves on out. Headlights on. Nice, light, nimble, cafe style. And again, this was built specifically to be able to go on the highway. as transportation. So it has a 4-speed overdrive, and it'll go highway speeds. Definitely no problem keeping up with traffic around town. It's a beautiful piece of classic motorcycle art that's been thoroughly restored to like new condition by the best in the business, George Ellis. George has built some beautiful, beautiful bikes, some really nice Bultaco cafe racers, and we'll be testing another one of his bikes later this week, so stay tuned. Little 150cc thumper, cruises right along. Nice set of tires, great brakes. It has a horn. No turn signals, they weren't required back then, so that was back in the day. It just feels like a real solid, reliable machine, and from what I've heard, they are good, reliable machines. No problem keeping up with traffic. If you want to keep the bike on display at the museum, we would absolutely love to have it. We don't have any MV Agustas in the museum right now. Got some Ducatis and some other Italian motorcycles, but no MV Agustas. It's a beautiful center of Rockville here. Beautiful stone church. A lot of beautiful mansions in town here. It was a mill town, so they had a lot of wealthy mill owners who, well, this was before automobiles existed, so they wanted to live close to the mills like ours, and they built these wonderful homes. A lot of them have been, like this one here, have been turned into old folks homes or private residences or apartments. Look at these cool old houses. This is one of my favorite parts of Rockville. Look at this place right here. My mom was a nurse here in Rockville in 1974. When I was 9 years old, we moved here, and she worked in that red house right across the street. It's now a veterans home. It was a doctor's office. It's a massive 10,000 square foot mansion that one of the mill owners owned, as is this one here. This is a mill owner's mansion. Look at the architecture. It's just fantastic. This is her former office. I used to come here when I was a kid all the time. The address is number 1 Ellington Ave. It was Dr. Kaplan's office, not Kaplan, Kaplan. K-O-P-L-A-N. Here's a church right here, and more mansions. And this mansion on the hill here, look at these stone walls. Up on the hill there's a mansion. See that? Up there? Absolutely fantastic. That was the guy who owned our mill. He owned the Hockenham Mill. And quite a bit of property in town, including one of the mansions his family owned got turned into the Rockville Hospital. So back to this bike. It shifts beautifully, starts perfectly, all electrics are completely sorted out. This is what I call a no excuses bike. Give this my seal of approval, Kaplan America seal of approval. It has the AMCA Junior Award on it, which is a multiple award winning show bike, is exactly what this is. So buy with confidence. It's a museum quality piece, clearly, and it's on display in the New England Motorcycle Museum now, and will be until someone buys it. I wish we could keep it, but we have to sell these beauties to fund the museum overhead. We haven't got any real benefactors to the museum other than the Kaplan family so far. A couple of not to undermine the donations. Some people have donated bikes to sell, but
the biggest donation we've gotten, I think, was like $17,000, and that was from the attorney who used to run the mill. He really cared about it. He donated $17,000, which is awesome. It's a lot, but we've invested $7.3 million. So every little bit counts, don't get me wrong, but it sure would be nice to have a Harley Davidson or an Indian or heck, even Geico Insurance or Yamaha, somebody in the motorcycle industry step up. Or I know there's lots of rich people in the United States. There's got to be people with money other than the Kaplan family who want to see the museum expand and open a restaurant and bar and a microbrewery and a motorcycle training school. That's the mansion that my mill owner owned too. His family owned that one, the Maxwell family. And this is the Maxwell Memorial Library. They built that library all granite. Can you imagine that? That's back from the Gilded Age, before there were income taxes. And I think the reason not many people step up to help the museum is, we have volunteers that work there. We're super grateful for that. Without the volunteers, we would really struggle running the place on the weekends. So Carl and Heidi and a bunch of other people, Carl Mizraka and his wife, have stepped up to help us run the museum. So, we're working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks to make this work. And, we just show up every day, do the best we can, and I don't really stress out about the finances or anything else, because I just put everything in God's hands, and work my butt off and leave the results in God's hands. I think that's the best thing to do in life, because so much is out of our control, and I'd probably have a nervous breakdown if I thought about everything that's outside of my control and anything other than just doing the best I can every day. And let's face it, I got an awesome, that's the Bixby house. We bought this house from the Historic Society. It was gifted to the Historic Society, and for free from the woman whose husband was a mill caretaker, Mrs. Bixby, and she lived there till she passed away, and it was in complete disrepair and needed a total restoration. It was inhabitable. We bought it for $125,000 and completely restored it. But there's no free ride, man. I guess there's no free ride anywhere, but we've done a great job restoring the mill in the museum and the grounds, and the town's done their part by putting in 3 bridges here, one on this side, one on the other side, one up on 3 brand new multi-million-dollar bridges and a brand new road. So for that, we're super grateful. And the mayor and the town administrator and the town planner have all done their best to help us get this museum off the ground. So we just need the motorcycle industry to step up and help out, God willing, someday. And every little bit helps. People donate memorabilia to display in the museum, and motorcycles are loaned to the museum, and someday we'll hopefully be as fortunate as the New Hampshire Motorsports Museum, which was entirely built, multi-million-dollar project with donations. All the contractors stepped up and helped out and donated everything they needed to build that entire museum. Can you imagine that? All the contracting, everything. But anyways, back to this bike. Absolutely perfect performing George Ellis masterpiece. Multiple award-winning Italian Motorcycle Owner Club first place. Lars Anderson Museum first place 2 years back-to-back. AMCA Juniors Award, 95 plus points judged. Close to 100-point restoration. I think if you check the current historic book value, you'll find that this is listed in there. The comprehensive vintage motorcycle price guide. But wouldn't you know, it actually matches the colors of this bike. So antique, classic, and special interest motorcycles. Goggles are fogging up. Turn the idle down a little bit. There she is, purring like a kitten. HIJK MB Agusta, 1950. 1959. I'm gonna smoke myself out in here. Let's see what she says. MB Agusta, 1960, 1959. RS Sport 150 single. Over 10 years, Kenny was right, 6,515. So that's, if you average it out, it's about 650 a year. I'm not sure the exact production numbers, but let's just say if they made 600 of these 60 years ago, it's a safe bet there's probably less than 6 in the world. Certainly less than 60, but probably 6 to 10 in this kind of shape. Really rare piece. And the number one condition value, which this is $8,000. So the asking price that they had at the show, $7,500, was $500 under the Blue Book value. I think that's a very fair price. So with a Blue Book value of $8,000 and the asking price of $7,500, very fair. Let me turn the fuel off. Dual petcock system. The cost to take one of these that needs restoration, first your time, plan on full, if you do it full time, 3 months. If you do it nights and weekends, a couple years, to do a frame off restoration, find all the parts and recondition and do all the machining and everything else. So what's your time worth? You just buy this would be an awesome Christmas present for somebody. For me, if you want to buy it for Ken Kaplan and donate to the museum, that'd be awesome. I'd love to have it. I'm a big dude, 6'2", 240, with all my gear on, at least maybe 250 with the helmet and everything. And it hauled my big butt around no problem. So, to buy one for a couple of grand that needs a restoration, you're going to put all the $8,000 into it plus a ton of your time. I think the best thing to do if you love this machine is just buy it. You can't go wrong. It's an investment quality classic, AMCA approved, Lars Anderson Museum approved, Italian Motorcycle Owners Club approved, award winning from all three, and it's a prized possession here at the New England Motorcycle Museum. We'd love to leave it here where it is on display in the showroom across the bridge. So that's enough out of me. I obviously love the bike. It's the right colors. It's stunning. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's sexy. And it's going up in value every day. It's a rock solid investment. So you can tell your wife or your husband, if you're a woman looking at it, that this is a quality investment that you can write off on your single employee pension plan or your Roth IRA, because the IRS recognizes vintage classic motorcycles and cars as investments, retirement investments. So it's an investment quality classic. Enough out of me. Good luck bidding. God bless Italy for building kick-ass, sexy machines like this. And as always, God bless America.